everybody. Good evening, and thank you for tuning in for our live show here, Protecting the Vision, sponsored by the National Optometric Foundation, the NOF. The NOF is supporting the National Optometric Association, the NOA, in various ways there. And my name is Dr. Timothy Brown. I am the treasurer of the NOF, and I'm so excited to be on this show. And I got five great guests with me on this show that's going to be sharing with you on the topic eye safety and eye wellness. We want you to know that putting eye safety and eye wellness as a priority is important. And we want to make sure we share some nuggets with you tonight that's going to not only help save your vision, but also help you share with your family and friends so that we are also helping to save their vision as well there too, keeping their eyes protected as we're doing our daily activities throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month there. So a little bit about the National Optometric Foundation. We are a nonprofit organization. We are also the financial support arm for the National Optometric Association. We support in ways of doing community activities along with them. As we go to our conferences, the day before the conference start, we are always out doing free eye exams in communities. Whichever state, city that we're in, we're doing free eye exams, doing free glasses, partnering along with sponsors such as VSP with the glasses. We are also trying to help financially support students in optometry school. So we also try to support students who are thinking about going to optometry school. So if you're thinking about becoming an optometrist, you want to get in touch with our organization so that we can go in and support you along the way and on your journey to becoming an optometrist there. We are also trying to provide education to communities, provide education to our patients, provide education to our churches. We want you to know all about your eyes and the things that you should be aware of, and make sure that we are going to help you have eye safety all along your life there so that you're not losing your vision, but you're saving your vision there. We want to protect your vision. We also provide scholarships. We have a lot of sponsors that join in with sponsoring our scholarships and supporting the organization financially there as well. And we want you to know that we now have a Facebook page, National Optometric Foundation, that we would like for you to go and visit. We want you to like that page for us. And we also want you to know that we have a YouTube channel as well, National Optometric Foundation, that we'd like for you to follow us on our YouTube channel. We have a Cash App there that we would like for you to support us as we're supporting and providing so much for communities around the US of A. Our Cash App can be there at the $ Protecting the Vision, $ Protecting the Vision there. So we want to thank you all for joining in with us. If you're catching this on the replay, we want to thank you for tuning in. We ask that you will share this as well so that your followers can also be tuned in to the great things that our speakers are going to share with you tonight. So grab your favorite drink, grab your popcorn, and get ready for an exciting show, Protecting the Vision, speaking on the topics of eye safety and eye wellness. So let me go ahead and get started by introducing our awesome speakers for tonight. And one of the speakers that we have for tonight has been practicing optometry for over 37 years. His name is Dr. David Simons. Dr. David Simons earned his undergraduate degree from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill in 1980. In 1980, his Doctor of Optometry degree was earned at the Indiana University in Bloomington back in 1984. After graduating from optometry school, Dr. Simons, he served as the military optometrist for the United States Navy in Long Beach, California. And he was there until 1989. And after a brief time in corporate optometry, Dr. Simons became a civil service optometrist for Naval Medical Center in Portsmouth, Virginia in 1990. And he was assigned to Norfolk Navy Shipyard in Portsmouth, Virginia in 1991 as an industrial optometrist. Dr. Simons has practiced as an industrial optometrist from 1991 until the present time. He is currently the director of the Site Conservation Program at the Norfolk Naval Shipyard, the largest naval shipyard in the United States, where he has received several honors, awards, and certificates for outstanding service. Dr. Simons, welcome to the show. We're looking forward to hearing from you later on today. We're so glad to have you here. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. And I hope I can give you a few nuggets so that y'all can keep your eyes safe.
Absolutely. I know you will, and we're looking forward to hearing from you as our expert on home and work eye safety. Thank you so much, sir. I am going to go ahead and introduce our next guest for tonight. Our next guest comes from the uh, South Carolina, in McCormick, South Carolina there. His name is Darius Childs. Darius Childs and I attended Lander University together. We were roommates. Darius and I still get together with our other roommates every year, and we hang out together there. But Darius now resides in Aiken, South Carolina with his wife and his two daughters, beautiful daughters there. He's also the bank manager of SRP in Graniteville, South Carolina. And I'm so glad to have him on the show tonight. I'm looking forward to hearing from him as he share with us what he's doing day in and day out at his job there at the SRP Bank. Darius, thank you for being on the show tonight.
Hey, man, thank you for inviting me, man. I'm looking forward to it. And I actually got some questions that I'm looking forward to hearing the answers to help
Absolutely,
my eye health
Darius.
moving
Thank
forward.
you so much there. We're so glad to have you on the show tonight there. So we also have another guest speaker that's going to be sharing with us tonight. His name is Mr. Joseph Johnson III. He is the nephew of the famous optometrist who was on our show one time before, Dr. Paula Boone. And he is also a retired postal worker. He's a skilled man and electrician. He's an electrician, and he's also a home handyman. And I'm so glad that Mr. Johnson is here because he's going to share a great story with you all tonight. And it's centered around eye safety and eye wellness. And I'm so glad he's on the show to share that tonight. Mr. Johnson, thank you so much for being here with us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure there. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce our next guest for tonight. This guest here is a very special person to me. She is a mother of her growing son, Mr. Jeremy, and husband to Quentin Atkins. She's traveled from state to state with her family while serving in various leadership positions in the United States Army. In her leisure time, she enjoys relaxing at home with her family, cooking, and talking to her favorite uncle. That's me, of course, Tim Brown. Welcome to the show, Sergeant First Class Della Atkins. Welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It is an honor.
Absolutely. And we look forward to hearing from you as you share about eye safety and eye wellness and as it relates to your work environment there as well. And our speaker number 5 is Dr. Allison Fisher. Dr. Allison Fisher is a graduate, 2011 graduate from the Indiana University School of Optometry. She's had 7 international medical mission trips that she's been on, 6 to Nicaragua with the Optometry Association of Louisiana, 1 to Cambodia with Lakeview Christian Church in Indianapolis back in 2018. She's also, due to COVID restriction and traveling and everything, it kind of slowed down her life there a little bit and gave her time to do a lot of scuba diving, which is her passion there. And she has Seascope, which is now incorporated, formed with the youth of Indianapolis in mind to give the youth more opportunities to make a global impact. They're given the opportunity to make a global impact. She loves the water. Scuba diving is a must for her. Optometry is her part-time that she's doing as well. She's a great friend of mine, and I'm glad to have her on the show with us as well there. Dr. Fisher, we'll be hearing from you later on. Welcome to the show, Dr. Fisher.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown.
Yes, yes. Glad to have you on the show, and we'll hear from you next there. So, guys, there we got it. We got all of our guests here on the show. Jason, if we can bring them all on the show there, all of our guests is going to be sharing excellent information with you as it relates to eye safety, eye wellness there. And so we're going to go ahead and hear about someone who may have been using computers a lot at their workplace there. Mr. Darius Childs, I understand that as you go throughout the day, you're in front of a screen, you're helping people inside of your business. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you're using your eyes throughout the day.
Yes, sir. So as you mentioned, I am a branch manager for a credit union here in Aiken, South Carolina. My branch is located in Graniteville. We have multiple screens, and we are sitting in front of it, from 8:30 in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening. And so my main reason for being here is I have a question, because as I go throughout this day, especially busy ones, and I don't have a chance to lock my screens, what are things I can do to help my eye health moving forward, and something I can pass along to my coworkers also?
Absolutely, there. Good, good. So, what would you say the amount of time that you are spending in front of a computer screen? How many hours will you say each day that you're in front of a computer screen?
Yeah, I get there at 8 o'clock. I take a lunch from 12 to 1. I leave at 6. So that's roughly about 9, if I'm not mistaken, give or take.
9 hours in front of a computer. And we understand when he's in front of the computer, computers, digital devices, they emit blue light. That blue wave light there can cause us to become fatigued. It can irritate our eyes. It can cause damage to the retina if we're getting exposure to that blue wave for long periods of time. That blue wave is on the end of the spectrum where that part of the light wavelength is harmful to our eyes there, and it can cause damage to the back of our eyes, which we call the retina. So Darius, we want to know, have you ever heard of the 20-20-20 rule?
No, sir. Please elaborate.
Okay, so in optometry, we talk about the 20-20-20 rule. When you're sitting in front of a computer screen for a long amount of time, you want to take breaks during the time that you're in front of a computer screen. Give your eyes time to relax, your eye muscles time to relax, and so that can help decrease the fatigue that you may be feeling while you're sitting in front of the screen. So the 20 is when you take, for every 20 minutes that you're sitting in front of the screen doing work, you want to look 20 feet away, and you want to give yourself a 20-second break. That's where the 20-20-20 rule comes in. So we want you to take breaks throughout the day as you're using your eyes. We also want to recommend that you consider getting protection eyeglasses there. Even if you don't have a prescription, if you have a prescription, talk to your optometrist, which I hope will be me since we live close to each other. Talk to us about getting some blue light protection on your glasses so that it can help reduce the amount of blue light that's coming into the eye and reaching the back of your eye into the retina there. So you want to also recommend this to your coworkers there as well. Talk to them about the blue blocking light that you can get, the blue blocking. You want to get that on your glasses so that it can help reduce the fatigue that you're feeling towards the end of the day, and also damage towards the back of your eye there as well. Is there an optometrist that's on the call who would like to chime in about what can people do when they're sitting in front of a computer all day? Is there anything that you would like to add to the discussion there, Dr. Simons, Dr. Fisher?
Well, you covered a lot of it. It's very important that you make sure that your prescription is proper. Then the other thing that you want to make sure of is that you have proper seating. When you're seating, have the computer at a level where you're not looking up at the computer, but looking down about 20 degrees, making sure that you're looking at the computer at that distance. And the other thing is the blue blockers, because blue light is kind of scatters more than the other visible light. So it's hard for your eyes to collect that the light, and it causes eye fatigue because of that. And the other thing is that blue light tends to have a effect on sleep deprivation because it affects the melatonin that is produced in the body, and melatonin is used to help us sleep. So the blue blockers are very important.
And I'll just add in
Absolutely.
there, sorry about that, Tim. And I'll just add in there also, when you guys are staring at the computer all day, your blink response is decreased. So we don't pay attention to it. But when we're concentrating on something, even if we're just driving and we don't know where we are and we're trying to figure out where we're going, we're not blinking as many times as we're supposed to. And we need to blink to activate these glands that are in our lids to stimulate some of the tears that we need on the surface of our eye. So actually sitting at the computer for a period of time, like you're doing, is changing the structure of your eyelids so that later in life you might not have the glands that you need to secrete the tears that you need, so it can cause you dry eye. So I tell people just to make a conscious effort of blinking regularly. And then there's nothing wrong with using artificial tears or lubricating drops that you can buy over the counter so that you can lubricate the front surface of your eye. But just make a conscious effort to blink, and those breaks also help as well. So I tell people after 20 minutes, at least look away from the screen, get up from the screen, but really you also want to make sure you're blinking.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for both sharing that. You see, that's why we have guests on the show, because you're going to introduce some things that I may forget. You both introduced some great pointers there. We want the audience to know as we're talking about these things, you can submit questions, type your questions in below. Let us know what you're thinking, what questions you may have, and we can ask the guest speakers to respond to your questions and your comments there as well. One of the things Dr. Simon was talking about, that correct posture. When you're sitting in front of the screen, you want to have that upright position there so you're not slunched over and you're going to have neck, back pain, shoulder pain at the end of the day because you don't have the proper posture there as well. Also making sure if you're using a cell phone at nighttime, we want to try to encourage people to shut the cell phones and devices off 1 hour before bedtime. Gives you time to get things back regulated right again. He was talking about the melatonin there, and we want to make sure that you're not having that increased alertness there so that you get it ready for sleep, and you're not going to have a decrease in the quality of sleep that you're having when it's time for you to go to sleep, and also the quantity, how much sleep you're getting because you're constantly on your digital device at nighttime as well there. Darius, did that help you out some?
Yeah, some great information, man. Thank you. 2020. Also make sure that my monitor is at an eye level and make sure I'm getting proper blinking. And thank you for turning my device off early at night. That's something I can tell my wife so I can help her out too.
Absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. As you learn, share these things with your family and friends so that they will be educated about some tips that can help preserve their vision, protect their vision, and also some more eye safety tips that we're going to talk about later on there. So I want to go to Mr. Johnson, because Mr. Johnson is the nephew of Dr. Paula Bone. And Mr. Johnson has a story that he can share with us as it relates to eye safety there. So Mr. Johnson, we want to turn the show over to you and give you the opportunity to be able to tell us a little bit about you, what you've done in the past, and share your story with us.
Okay, basically what happened to me was I was in an attic doing some electrical work, and sometimes you have to use your hammer and a nail to drive something in. So initially what I did was I took the hammer, I drove the nail, and it popped out. So I said, initially, you're just going to say, next time I'm going to hit it harder. So the next time I hit it, the nail came out straight into my left eye. And I remember pulling it out. And basically, that's what happened to me. I didn't cover my eyes up. I didn't protect myself. And that was about 30 years ago. So that's basically something I think about every day. So, yeah, just keep yourself covered, cover yourself up at all times.
Absolutely, Mr. Johnson. So can you tell us, your left eye having that type of injury, what was the action that you took after that injury happened there? Did you go see someone? Did you lose any vision? Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Initially, what happened was I didn't think it was that serious, but I should have known something was up because when I pulled a nail out, I initially did this, and I could look and see something on my shoulder. I had no idea what it was. So I went home. My wife took me to the emergency room, and they called a specialist in, Dr. Wayne Devontier, Tidewater Eye in Portsmouth, Virginia. He got there. He was all calm. And when he took his scope and looked in my eye, he got a little nervous. And I didn't get nervous until he got nervous.
Yeah, right.
And he said, look, we're going to have to operate on you. And when he said that, it still didn't dawn on me. And then when before they put me to sleep, he said, when you wake up, you might not have an eye. And then that's when I like, what? And that's how it happened. There is no vision in my left eye now. So only thing that gets me now is there's no iris, no lens, and the light goes directly in my eye. And it's been doing this so long. It used to be very painful, but it's not as painful as it used to be. So that's about it.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I want to thank you for sharing, for being so open about this tragic experience that happened for you there. And experience that you're describing about how it was painful for you because so much light is coming in. You're very sensitive to the light there. Do sometimes when you go out, are you wearing sunglasses? Was that recommended to you as well?
Initially, right after it happened, I did wear sunglasses. I wore sunglasses for the last 30 years. And the glasses I have on now are transitionals. And what I'm getting ready to do is just to go to straight prescription sunglasses.
Yes, yes. I want to recommend that to you as well. They're getting them as dark as possible. Get some polarized sunglasses there. I know for myself, when I'm driving, my polarized sunglasses are excellent as far as helping to protect my eyes from the sun rays outside. I also recommend it to those who are going to be on the beach for long periods of time. There to help cut down on glare and help cut down eye strain that they're going to have as well there as they're at the beach or they're driving or they're around a lot of ice, snow. For those who live up north, I also recommend that they have a pair of polarized sunglasses there too. So I'm glad that you're already thinking about making the switch from transitions to polarized sunglasses there as well. So I think my colleagues also would agree that polarized is one of the better options for you there as well. Dr. Simons, Dr. Fisher, if y'all want to chime in, you can.
Yeah, for people that get an injury, a penetrating injury, I think it's important, and I know it's probably hard when something sticks in your eye not to try to pull it out. One of the things that we always recommend is don't pull the object that got stuck into your eye out of the eye. And if you have a chance, what you need to do is put a rigid shield over the eye. And if you don't have a rigid shield, you can take a paper cup or a plastic cup and cut the bottom out of it and then place that over the eye and tape it there and then rush to the eye doctor as soon as possible. The expediency is very important when you get those type of eye injuries.
Yes, sir. That's right.
The other thing is you don't want to try to wash it out. You don't want to rub it out. You just want to try to cover it up with something rigid and get to a place where a doctor can see you and try to do surgery on it.
Right.
Great pointers, Dr. Simmons. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for sharing that for us. And Dr. and Mr. Johnson, thank you so much for sharing your story, because a lot of people don't realize how a simple thing that you're doing at home or at work, you're working on a project there. You don't want to grab your goggles, your safety eyewear protection there can lead to a tragic event. We recently just saw a young man in office who lost his eye, his left eye, as a matter of fact, due to injury from a car accident. You know, something simple as that, car accident there. He had something hit his eye and he lost his vision there. But the thing is, he came to the office riding on a motorcycle with that one good right eye, you know. So I was a little concerned about him on that as well there too. But he understood after we talked with him about, you know, protecting that right eye. He did take our advice and he was able to order some glasses there to keep glasses on his eyes, you know, to protect that right eye. Because if he loses vision in the right eye, lights out, you know. So we want to make sure that people understand to keep your eyes protected. Put it as a priority to protect your eyes. And I want to share with you something that I was reading here from an article from the AOA, our optometry organization, their association there. It says that eye injuries in the workplace are very common. The National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health reports that every day, about 2,000 U.S. workers sustain job-related eye injuries that require medical treatment. However, safety experts and eye doctors believe the right eye protection can lessen the severity and even prevent 90% of these eye injuries. So just wearing that eye protection there can prevent these things from happening to you so that you're not losing your vision. So protect your vision, save your eyeball. And that's what we're trying to do as optometrists, as eye care professionals. We're trying to help save eyeballs there, one eyeball at a time. So thank you again for sharing that so that we can kind of share some tips along the way there. I know Dr. Simmons, he's probably going to share some more information when we go to him. But I want to go now to first Sergeant First Class Della Atkins there, because she also has a story to share as it relates to work environment, protecting the eyes there with one of her colleagues, and also home activities, things that you need to make sure that you're doing at home while you're outside working or you're outside doing outdoor activities there. So at this time, Della, go ahead and share your story with us, please.
Sure. So I remember, I can recall it when someone in my profession went to a qualification range. They had a malfunction in their weapon system. That weapon system was assigned to the individual, resulted in that soldier, for example, weapon exploding in their face. Yes, the soldier was wearing the correct PPE, which is personal protective equipment. Thank God they were wearing goggles. All right. Soldier did fully recover. However, I do believe if it wasn't for the Lord on the soldier's side, I can only imagine what would have happened to that soldier. Imagine attending a shooting range, excited to be there, listening to the safety brief, that's been facilitated by the safety officer in charge. All right. They emphasize on the importance of wearing your eye protection, your ear protection, and so forth continuously. Just to find out moments later, while on the range, your assigned weapon explodes in your face. Oh, by the way, you forget to wear your protective eyewear. So again, back to the story. If it wasn't for the soldier wearing their protective eyewear as instructed at the shooting range, they could have lost their eyesight, or they could have, better yet, lost their lives. So in my line of work, for example, it is very crucial to comply with orders when given, especially at a range.
Absolutely. Great points there. And I'll give Dr. Fisher and Dr. Simmons opportunity to be able to chime in if they want to based on this. I know, Dr. Simmons, you specialize and you're the expert here today on eye injuries and eye safety as well. And Dr. Fisher also is going to talk with us later on about eye protection safety there as well. But some of the things that Della just mentioned there, Dr. Simmons, if you can go ahead and chime in on that, I'll give you the opportunity.
Yeah, blunt trauma injuries or explosions, they're very dangerous type of injuries, and it's good that they were wearing their safety protection equipment, because those type of injuries you can't prepare for really. But the thing that you want to do is try to follow the directions of the people that are in the area concerning what type of safety equipment you should be wearing. You also should have your safety goggles on. And the thing that is also important is being aware of your surroundings, what's going on around you, and also taking the proper precautions when you are doing those things. Some things you can't prevent them from happening, but the more prepared you are by having this proper safety equipment on, and the more prepared you are about knowing where you are and what's going on around you, helps prevent those type of things from occurring.
Absolutely. You mentioned a great point. Being aware of the surroundings, that's one of the things that we think about when it comes to eye safety there, knowing your surroundings. And not only for adults, but also for children. You think about in your home, the different things that you may have in your home that a child can be attached to that could cause an eye injury for them. The sharp edge of a table, or them running through the house with a comb in their hand, them running through the house with a fork in their hand. They don't realize the danger, but you as the parent, you as the adult in the house will need to make sure that you are aware of those things happening and make sure that you jump in and stop those things and give that child, some direction as it relate to having that sharp object in their hand and not running around the house. But also, just to mention some things that we don't think about, children getting into mouthwash, getting into chemicals that surround the house there. Those things can cause eye injury as well. You can have chemical eye injuries that can happen around your household, as well as, a forced trauma, as well to your eye there. So those are just things. Think about your detergent. Where are you keeping those things at? Your Clorox. Where are you keeping these things at? Your cleaning supplies. Children are always curious. They're opening tops there, and smelling, and something can fly up into their eye, and it could be very tragic, especially if their eye is not flushed at the proper time. They're not getting to places, to get the help that they need. If there's a delay, we're telling you today, don't delay. We want you to move quickly when there's eye injury that you encounter, or you have a child that encounter eye injury there. So just think about those things. Also, playing sports, at home there too. Wear the proper eye protection. Basketball, these contact sports, baseball, hockey, all of those things are things that children are involved in on a weekly basis there, and we don't think about them sometimes. But fingers, they're going all over the place when you're involved in these contact sports there. So we want to be mindful of those things too, as well there too. And Dr. Fisher, I'll give you an opportunity if you want to just chime in. Maybe you had a patient, with an encounter that you want to share, that or some education that you give to your patients there as well.
Yes, thanks. When you just mentioned children, that's the first thing actually I was thinking about when I was thinking about the many various eye-related injuries that I'll see. Most commonly, I get a lot of patients with metal shards and things in the front surface of their eye, their cornea. Sometimes they feel like it's just something in their eye, like an eyelash that won't go away. Eventually, their eye starts to get red or inflamed, and they come in and it's metal in your eyes. But one day I had a 6-year-old little girl that had a piece of metal in her cornea or in her eye. Who knows how it got there? But if you think about it, it had to have been in some environment that she was in, maybe her home, maybe her dad's workshop. Who knows? So we do need to be conscious of not only just us wearing our personal protective equipment, but we also need to think about those that are around us in our environment that might walk into that garage that maybe you have some project or something that you're working on. You're not thinking about the particles of things that are in the air. So that's definitely something we need to start training our young people to think about. And then as far as sports goes, they say that the number one injury to an eye is actually from a fingernail. So people get what we call abrasions on their corneas or scratches on the front surface of the eye. And all of these things affecting the front surface of the eye can cause permanent scarring, which can actually cause your vision to be affected and decreased for the rest of your life if it's in just right in the center of the eye. So personal protective equipment or the right type of gear that you should be wearing when you're doing certain related sport activities or work activities to keep your eyes safe and protected is very important. And then on the lines of sports, I mean, we think about these contact sports because we're talking about orbital injuries or injuries to the orbit of the eye, or these contact sports where something's hitting the eye, and it can affect fractures in the bones around the eye. It can also affect bleeding and cause bleeding and issues inside the eye. But there's other sports and activities where we need to think about the front surface of the eye, and this goes back to talking about dry eye disease. So Mr. Brown mentioned chemicals. One of my hobbies he mentioned is scuba diving, and I do swim, and I spend a lot of time training in the pool. And chlorine and the chloramines in the pool that are supposed to be used to disinfect and kill germs, we're not thinking about what it's doing to the surface of our eyes. So summer is approaching, and Mr. Brown also mentioned going to the beach, but people are going to the pools, and we need to think about protective eyewear as well. So literally the cornea is affected, can cause also swimmer's eye. It's something we call swimmer's eye, where it's red, itchy, irritated, excessive watering or tearing, because that front surface of the tears have been basically washed away by the chlorine. And then it can be further damage to the eye because of excessive swimming and not wearing swim goggles or swim masks to protect the front surface of the eye. So there's a lot of activities that we don't necessarily think about as far as needing that personal protective equipment. You think I'm just going to the pool, but you also have to think about the sun and the exposure of the UV, being out in the sun all summer, however long you're outdoors with different activities in the sun. If you're not protecting your eyes from that ultraviolet light from the sun, then it can prolong, it can cause actually cataracts to develop earlier in your life. It can also cause some other issues like with snowboarding or skiing. You can get some ultra radiate, well, we call it UV keratitis. So it's kind of a front surface inflammatory condition because you're exposed to all that UV that's bouncing off the sun. So Mr. Brown mentioned how important it is to have those polarized lenses. So we have actually ski lenses and ski goggles that you can put in your lenses. Also in the swim goggles, you can put UV protection in your swim goggles. So these are just some other things we need to think about when we're doing these activities, even just for fun, and think about these things for our children as well.
Wow, you just put out a wealth of knowledge right there, Dr. Fisher. I mean, I am blown away. You touched upon a lot of great topics there that I would probably have missed there. So thank you so much for your expertise as it relates to proper eye protection when you're doing water activities, water events there, you know, making sure that you're protecting your eyes from the chemicals that could be in different pools and everything as well there too. And protecting your eyes when you're outside doing those outdoor activities from the UV rays there as well. So thank you so much for touching upon those things. Dr. Simmons, do you have anything that you would like to add on to that topic there?
Yeah, when you're talking about sports goggles and sports protection, one of the ways that you know that it's the safest type of sporting is good equipment to wear in your eyes is it should be labeled ASTM, which stands for American Society for Testing and Materials, and that says that it's certified for doing that type of activity. The other thing is with with sports goggles or glasses, you want to also make sure that you have an elastic band around it so they won't fall off your face. You want them to be able to fit tightly on your face so they're not moving around and they not cause an injury as well as the object that hits the eye. Some other things when you were talking about chemicals, one of the things that's important about chemicals is once some chemicals get in your eye, you want to make sure that you get the name of the substance that got in your eye, because that way we can determine the pH of that chemical. And pH it kind of stands for the potential hydrogen, and the potential hydrogen level of the eye is around 7.2. So if any type of substance get in your eye, if the pH is different from the 7.2, it can cause some damage to the eye. So the further away the pH of that substance is from the pH of the eye, the more damage it can cause. So we want to make sure that you know what's getting in your eye so that we can take care of it in a proper manner. First thing you want to do for chemical injury, though, is flush it with water as soon as possible for at least 15 minutes. That's the most important thing. If you don't have any water, any drinkable liquid, you can use it and flush out the eye, because the more you dilute the chemical from your eye, the better able you are to recover from that injury.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you both for sharing that. And one of the things that I think about as we're talking about eye injuries are those who are now, as the season is changing, the weather is starting to warm up. People are going to be outside doing what? Landscaping. They're going to be outside mowing the lawns, weed eating. And many of the times you ride by, a lot of them won't have on eye protective gear there. Sometimes you see people now get on their four-wheelers there and things of that sort. You know, people are getting on their motorcycles. They're not wearing their protective gear and everything there. Della, I remember you telling me about outdoor activities for your family there. Give us a little bit feedback on, you know, what you all do as far as it relates to protecting your eyes when you're outdoor. Maybe your husband outdoor working, or you're going to do some activities there outside with motorsports. Can you share a little bit?
Yes, sure. So in my household, one of the numerous priorities that we have out of them all is safety. For example, anytime my husband and son they out in the lawn, wearing protective eyewear is a must. Now, at times, if my son forget his eye protection, my husband and I, we never hesitate to ensure that our son has eye protection on. Again, in fact, same goes for my son when he's riding his ATV. First and foremost, before he get on it, he must conduct a thorough inspection around the vehicle. wear all the correct PPE, such as long sleeve shirts, pants, and most importantly, wearing goggles, his glasses that were prescribed to him. Practicing safety is very important. We stress the importance in my household as well as in the United States Army.
Excellent, excellent. And that is what we are encouraging tonight. Those of you who are listening tonight, we're encouraging you to practice eye safety in your household. We're encouraging you to practice eye safety at your workplace there. We want to protect the vision. We want to protect your eyesight. We don't want you to lose your eyesight. As I think about this, I'm thinking about all the people that's not only in landscaping, but those that's in construction, those that's in plumbing, those who are doing mining work there, carpentry work there. I'm thinking about those who are doing auto repair, just going to do that quick little task without the proper eye protection could be tragic to you. We've heard the story from Mr. Johnson and how he was working and he had the injury to his eye there and lost his vision there. So we're trying to have these shows. We're trying to supply this education to you so that we can prevent these injuries from happening there, so that you can know what you can do at home to prevent your child from having an eye injury there, prevent your spouse from having an eye injury there, and spending so much money at the hospital for this medical treatment there due to that eye injury. I'm thinking about those who do welding, those who are doing maintenance work. I'm thinking about those who are in the manufacturing companies there. All of those positions there have risks. There are hazards all around. So maybe somebody watching tonight, maybe you have a question. Jason, do you have any questions that maybe the audience have for us out there as it relates to eye injuries and eye wellness there, so that we can try to stay there? And so when we have these questions are open for any of our guests to participate in trying to answer there. We have our expert on here, Dr. Simmons, with us. Dr. Fisher is also on here with us as well. So I see there's a question from Zion. Zion said, the blue light conversation is fairly new to. All right, so what do you do if most insurance won't cover the blue light glasses? So I'll hear from Dr. Simmons, but here I am. I'm going to tell you, you find a way to get that blue light protection on there. Insurances, most of our vision plans, they do have a copay that you will have to pay when it comes to adding that blue light protection on your glasses there. Several of our patients have gotten it. They know that their children are glued to digital devices all throughout the day when they get home from school, while they're in school. So that extra cost that the parents will have to pay in form of a copay, they say it's worth it, to protect their children's eyes. Now, if your insurance don't cover it at all, it's not much more from the copay that will cost you to get that blue light protection there. So I want to encourage you to spend that extra money to get the blue light protection so that you're protecting your eyes, and make sure that when it comes to your eyes, you're outweighing the benefits, and the risks there as it comes to spending the money there. Any feedback from you, Dr. Fisher, Dr. Simmons?
I would have to agree. People spend their money on what they consider valuable, and your eyes are very valuable. You only have two. So if your insurance doesn't cover the cost, and you get glasses on an annual basis, and I do admit some kids need 2 pair a year, just factor it into the cost and budget for it, just like you would anything else. That's a necessity.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. Go ahead, Doc.
Yep, I agree that the best protection is the blue light protection that they make into the glasses. If you cannot get the blue light protection, you can use some tints that help. They're not as good as the blue light protection, of course. A yellow tinted lens, a brown or amber tinted lens, they tend to block blue light fairly well. Not as good as the blue blocker lenses, though, but they will provide some help. And also on your devices, a lot of times, like your cell phones and things, they have a blue blocking app up there that you can put on the cell phone itself, and that can block some of the blue light.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that too. So there's a lot of filters that you can put on your computer screen, your digital devices. One of the things I wanted to mention that this is drawing me back to is using the night setting on your phone as well there too, to help reduce some of the light that's coming into your eyes there as well. So thank you for the question. We appreciate it. Do we have another question from the audience before I give Dr. Fisher the chance to tell us what it is that she's doing as well as it relates to her scuba diving? Lauren, thank you. Lauren Whitaker, thank you so much. I would like to ask a question. How often do you recommend getting your eyes checked for a new prescription? Very good. Go ahead, Dr. Fisher. I'll let you go ahead and chime in on that. I know, but I want to give you the chance as a guest.
Thank you. So I recommend, and it depends on the age of the patient and their current situation, but I recommend everyone gets an annual eye exam. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't write prescriptions that expire in 2 years, even if the person is older and has cataract surgery and they're like 85 years old. You still need an annual exam because we're checking the ocular health or the health of the eyes, even if you don't need a prescription. Some children actually have growth spurts and have several of them within a year. So I also educate parents when their kids are having growth spurts. If they start complaining that their vision is blurry or looking out for them squinting or blinking excessively, rubbing their eyes, any type of signs that their eyes have changed, it might not be a year. It might be in 6 months. It might be in 4 months. It could be in 8. And then patients over 55, there was this rule in school, and I still kind of say it out loud to patients because it makes it resonate in their minds just a little bit more when I say we have this rule, but we recommend annual dilations for everybody in my office, but for specific ages in which their health can be changing as far as diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol, any type of systemic or bodily conditions that can change their eye health, it's very important we are checking the health. So I really emphasize, even if you keep your glasses for 10 years because you paid $1,000 for them and you know they're not going to break, or you don't wear glasses at all that you're purchasing, but maybe buying over-the-counter glasses, you still need a health assessment on an annual basis.
Well, there you go, folks. There you go. Dr. Fisher has just confirmed that you should get your eyes examined every year. And we don't want you to delay, do it today. So call your local optometrist and get on their schedule so that you can get your eyes examined. Some people may say, I don't need an eye exam. I'm not feeling any pain. I'm not having any problems. But guess what? There could be some things that's hereditary that we can detect as we are doing your eye exam, and we need to manage early. So we want you to know, come on in, get your eyes examined. Most of you are paying for insurances that you're not using. And guess what? I've learned if you don't use it, you lose it. So we want to encourage you to use your insurance benefits there. Most of the time, you have a $10 copay, $15 copay to go see your optometrist and get your eyes examined, and take your family as well there too. We want to encourage you as you're there, talk with your optometrist, talk with the opticians there about glasses, talk about polycarbonate lenses, talk about polarized lenses, talk about safety goggles there, talk about the safety goggles with the side shields on them as well. If you're someone who is doing motorcycle activities there, talk about eye protection that you would need as you're out there doing those activities. So we want you to get your eyes examined every year. And thank you, Dr. Fisher, for your input on that subject there. Do we have another question? Okay, all right. So here we go. Joseph Johnson, do you suggest eye surgery for aging astigmatism? There we go. Do you suggest eye surgery for aging astigmatism? I think I read that correctly, right? Do anybody have any feedback on that as far as the surgery coming there? People have surgeries for different reasons. When it comes to astigmatism, do you recommend surgery for aging astigmatism there? Anybody has any feedback?
I'm assuming that he's referring to lenticular astigmatism that develops later in life as you develop cataracts. So basically everyone has a part of the eye that controls the focusing or zooming in or zooming out, kind of like your cell phone can zoom in and zoom out. As we get older, that part of our eye ages, it slows down, it hardens, it changes colors. We call it cataracts later in life. Sometimes that development of cataracts can change your prescription, and there's an astigmatism that comes about when you are older. As far as surgery goes, to be honest, you can get that surgery or cataract surgery or intraocular lens implant surgery at any stage in your adult life. And to be honest, when I turn 50, and I'm not going to tell you guys when that is, I'm actually going to get that surgery to remove the lens from the eye to get the implants that will actually correct my vision so that I no longer need these glasses. So I do highly recommend that particular surgery for several different reasons, not just because my eyes are changing as I age, but just because I want to get out of these glasses.
Very good. Very good. Dr.
Yes, and
Simmons?
if you were talking about eye surgery for cataracts, I would agree with that. And I don't know if he's talking about eye surgery for cataracts or if he's talking about refractive surgery. If he's talking about refractive surgery, yes, you can get refractive surgery for astigmatism, uh, and it works well. But you have to realize, just like Dr. Allison was saying, that once you hit the age of 40, the lens in your eye hardens up and you still will not be able to focus at near. So you still probably have to have some reading glasses also, uh, even though that surgery will correct you for the distance. Or you have to get one eye for distance and one eye for near, and then you lose your depth perception. So, yes, there's refractive surgery that can correct for astigmatism at any age, but it's important to realize that that will not totally eliminate your need for glasses.
Very good. Thank you so much there. And I wanted to get back to the cataract part there as well. Protect your eyes. Wear your sunglasses there so that those UV rays are not coming into the eye and causing the cataracts to develop faster that way there. So protect your eyes from there. All of us have that lens in the eye, and as the UV rays come in, they damage that lens in the eye, and it starts to change those fibers, and it breaks down the proteins, and the lens starts to change colors, a little yellow, brown color, and that's cataracts there. So protect your eyes as much as you can so that you're not increasing the rate at which the cataracts are developing there as well. So we're coming near the end of the show there, and I want to take another question, but I also want to give each of my guests the opportunity to be able to share a word of encouragement, a safety tip with the audience, to talk about what it is that maybe you do there, where people can follow you on social media. I know, Dr. Fisher, you are doing some great things with the youth there, Indianapolis there. I know they should be proud to have you. And I want to give you the opportunity to be able to share with us what it is that you do when it comes to scuba diving there. So if you would, I want to give you the opportunity to speak on that, and then we'll take another question.
Right. A couple of questions. I do really want to address some of these questions. So one of the questions is excessive use of the phone. Excessive, it's hard to say because I think we're in such an early stage at trying to figure out how the eyes are truly being affected by cell phone use, that we don't really know how much is damaging our retina. I told you that when we stare at the screens earlier, we're not blinking as much as we're supposed to. So it's causing the glands in our lids literally to drop out. So there was a study that was done. They compared the lids to an 80-year-old and an 8-year-old or something. And these glands that are supposed to secrete some of our tears, the 80-year-old had way more of those glands than the 8-year-old because he's staring at the phone and these screens. So excessive, we don't know how much is excessive, but our eye health is definitely changing. And then also, if someone has pressures in their eyes, pressure meaning their pressure is abnormally high, I'm assuming, but everything else is fine. That's the only issue should the patient be worried. This is an interesting topic with eye pressure. There are some people that have high eye pressures, and it's called ocular hypertension, and we don't see any damage to the inside of the eye. Then there's high eye pressures that can damage the inside of the eye and damage the nerve and cause something we call glaucoma, which is the disease that causes blindness from losing your sight from the side. So sometimes there can be high eye pressures that are damaging, sometimes high eye pressures that are not damaging. But the point is that person needs to get checked on an annual basis so we can determine if there is a problem with their pressures being high. And then to answer Mr. Brown's question, yes. So I do optometry, and I call it my day job. I love doing missionary work, and I love helping people to see. I also am in a program, and it's from a nonprofit I developed to help these young people also get a different vision of the world beyond the small space that they're living in here in Indiana. We don't live near the ocean, but I am teaching these young people to scuba dive and snorkel and get connected with their environment in a different way, so that they can work towards maybe seeing just their lives in a bigger picture than just themselves being in their environment when they consider their environment just a home or school. And so my organization is called Seascope Incorporated. You guys can find Seascope Inc. on Facebook, Instagram. Also can go to website seascopefun.org. And for me, Dr. Fisher, I practice in Indianapolis at the Costco in Castleton. So if you guys are local, come see me. And if you guys have any questions about eyes, I'm always available. Feel free to email me or contact me.
Thank you, Dr. Fisher. As again, I'm honored to have you on the show. You've definitely shared a lot of great nuggets there with the audience today. Thank you for grabbing some of the questions there for us as well, because we want the audience to know that we're here. This show that we do is for you. It's to educate communities all around the US of A. So we're thankful that you're joining in with us there, and we thank you for giving those questions to us. And as I go around closing out with our speakers here, we're going to continue to grab questions here and there and see if we can answer some of the questions that you have for us tonight there. So a word of encouragement that you may have, or a safety tip there is, or maybe something you learned tonight that you can share with our audience there. Darius Childs.
Well, I am approaching 40, so I have learned that I need to get an annual check, because just to be honest, I probably haven't been checked in 5 or 6 years. So tonight has definitely brought my visual health to the forefront, and you will be seeing me very soon.
Thank you, Darius. That is great there. It is good that the information is well received with you there. And so we look forward to seeing you at Insight Family Eye Care in Augusta, Georgia. And we look forward to taking care of your visual needs there as well. So thank you for being on the call as a guest with us. Continue to do the things that you do to help communities when it comes to their financial needs there as well there. We all have a gift, and I thank you for playing your role in helping others in the community as well. As we continue to roll through, yes, sir, with Mr. Johnson, Mr. Joseph Johnson there, again, your story was very impactful. It gave us insights into what can happen, you know, from simply just a nail and a hammer there, and the injuries that can happen. And I think someone was moved tonight from you sharing your story, and they're going to think about, before driving that nail and banging that hammer there into the nail, to grab their safety goggles, their eye protection there. So in closing, do you have any words for our audience there, Mr. Johnson?
No matter what you're doing, please cover up. Cover up. Always cover up, because you don't get a second chance.
Thank you so much there. And we wish you well there. And we'll really appreciate you for being transparent tonight with sharing your story there as well. I'm going to save Dr. Simmons for last there, but I'm going to go to Sergeant First Class Della Atkins. As we're closing, what words of encouragement do you have for our listening audience?
Yes, Dr. Brown. So I know you mentioned during your opening, protect the vision, save your eyes. And just as Mr. Johnson said, you know, can't afford to lose your eyes. So losing a life is one too many. The importance of wearing glasses, eye protective, is critical in preventing risk of injuries or illness. Whatever you do your best to save your eyes. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for all that you do. You know, I'm very proud of you. You're my niece. This is my niece, y'all, Sergeant First Class, and I'm so proud of her serving in the United States Army there. And I look forward to hearing all of the great things that you're going to continue to do in your career. And I want to thank you for making sure that your family is put in safety first in your household. Thank you so much for being on the show, Della. Thank you. And before we go to Dr. Simmons there, I want to also look at there. Jason is telling me that there may be another question out there. Somebody has a burning question that they want to share, and we want to make sure that we can grab another question before we close the show out tonight there. Jason, do we have a question that's coming from the audience there that you can put on the screen for us? Anybody I appreciate you all for tuning in there. So are there any helpful vitamins, Doc? Are there any helpful vitamins, foods that we could eat or take to support eye health there? And there are. And you can go ahead, Doc, as you're sharing and closing out on that question there, you can go ahead and share with that if you would like to, Dr. Simmons.
Yeah, couple of vitamins that are helpful are lutein and zeaxanthin. They are both good vitamins for your eyesight. They normally say 5 milligrams of lutein is very helpful, and 20 milligrams of the 20 milligrams of the lutein and 5 milligrams of the zeaxanthin.
Yes.
And I guess I leave with this. You've heard that old saying that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And there's no truer statement than this than for your eyesight, because, with the exception that once you lose eyesight, you can't get it back. So when you are doing projects or working around eye hazardous situations, you need to make sure you're wearing the proper eyewear or wearing the safety proper equipment. And there's other things precautionary wise you can do is you want to not be careless. You don't want to be distracted while you're working. You don't want to be real tired or fatigued while you're working, because these things lead to you having injuries. Being lazy, saying I'm not going to put on these safety glasses because I can do this real quick. You don't want to do things like that. Or what we're all guilty of, not reading the instructions. So you want to make sure you read the instructions so you're doing things the right way and doing it with the right equipment. And my last thing I'm going to say is make sure that you match your safety equipment with the safety situation.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you for sharing that with us, Doc. And I think the theme for tonight is safety first. Making sure that you are putting the safety of your eyes, your vision at the forefront, putting that first, making it a priority. Go get your eyes checked. I can't say that enough. Make sure you don't forget your omega-3s there, taking the proper vitamins there that you need there, eating a lot of green vegetables there, leafy vegetables there, making sure that you are grabbing your eye protection gear before you go into your work or your outdoor activities there. No matter if you're at home or you're in the office, making sure that you are putting safety first when it comes to your vision. As they said, you get 2 eyeballs, and it's up to you to make sure that you're protecting both of them. We want to thank you all for listening in. We want to thank these fabulous guest speakers there. Thank you guys so much for your participation tonight. I could not have asked for a better group of professionals to be on the show tonight. And it's because of you, the month of March has been completed with this live show, Protecting the Vision. We're looking forward to sharing with you guys in April on a different topic there as well there. So tune in again. Want to make sure that you go to our YouTube page. For those of you who don't know, the National Optometric Foundation is a nonprofit organization. We have a YouTube page that you can go on and you can capture some of the, you can look at some of the shows that we did for January and February. We'll continue to put these shows on our YouTube page. We also have a Facebook page, National Optometric Foundation. On our Facebook page there, you can find where you can donate to our organization. We have a Cash App that you can also donate to. It's the $ Protecting the Vision. What we do, we're trying to support those who are interested in going to optometry school, those who are in optometry school, those who are thinking about it. We're trying to mentor young minds so that they too can become an optometrist and have a positive impact on communities there as well. We are the financial arm of the National Optometric Association, and I'm proud to be the treasurer and a board member of the National Optometric Foundation. And I want to thank all of my colleagues who's on the board with us. Those of you who are interested in being a part of the National Optometric Foundation, we welcome you with open arms. We need more board members there. We need more people helping us to make an impact in lives and communities there. So thank you again. And I'm closing out today saying that eye safety first. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on our next live show, Protecting the Vision. Thank you.